Before we start, I am going to also open Yahoo Finance. For those of you that don't know, Yahoo Finance is the platform that pretty much informs you about the stock market daily. It's not the only platform out there, of course. There is investing.com as well. There are so many, but I mostly spend my time on investing.com and Yahoo Finance to to read the articles. Another thing that Yahoo Finance does it helps pull it does this aggregation thing, this RSS aggregation thing where it pulls data from other platforms out there. I think they have beef with Microsoft because they they don't pull they don't pull information from MSN, but they pull information from Zax, from so many platforms out there. So if there's like a news about a particular stock, one of the places you'd find it first is Yahoo Finance. Not all the time, but like in my experience in the last 5 years, like 98% of the time, you'll get news from other platforms on Yahoo Finance. This is all part of the conversation around catching stocks that are trending. That's why I'm just leaving it here before we start. So I need somebody to give me the name of a stock. That's how I know you guys are listening to me. Can someone just mention a random name of a stock?
MTN.
Momentum.
No, it has to be a US stock because there are not a lot of Nigerian stocks here. Don't worry, I'll show you where to find Nigerian stocks.
Um,
Microsoft.
Okay,
Amazon.
okay, we're going to use Microsoft and Amazon. I like both companies. Big fan of both companies. Hoping that everything they've planned for this year pulls through. Uh, with Microsoft, there's going to be a lot of sentiment sell-off. Because if ChatGPT, is doing this whole partnership with other platforms, and the partnerships are just on paper, but we're not really seeing the outcome of it. And Nvidia cannot sell chips to China and all of that. It causes this thing where people start to sell off. There are a lot of people selling off their tech stocks because these tech companies that are in a lot of your ETFs, are not doing well. So it starts to sell. So if Nvidia is not doing well, sometimes you start to notice that Microsoft is also not doing well. Not all the time, but sometimes. So we're going to use Microsoft. This is again Yahoo Finance. Here you can see conversations about Microsoft, what other investors are saying about it. You can see statistics, historical data as well. You can see their financials if you want to see their balance sheet and all of that. I've covered Yahoo Finance extensively in my previous videos and classes, so I am not going to go over all of these one by one. I am just going to check one thing, and that one thing is the float of the stock. So um, when you go to statistics on Yahoo Finance for any individual stock, I think ETFs as well. I haven't checked for any ETF recently, but for for stocks, you should go all the way down to where it says share statistics. What you want to take a look at is the float of the stock. So the float is very important. It's really really important when you're somebody who wants to buy stocks that are not expensive, um, and the market cap is also not like a heavy one. Microsoft, for example, is a trillion dollar company. So the float is like the shares that are outstanding are going to be huge. So your float is basically shares that are outstanding, shares that are out there in public for people to buy and sell. So we, the retail traders and investors, this is basically the number of shares out there for us right now. Why is the float different from shares outstanding and these other things? Because the float is actually um shares outstanding minus shares that the owners of this particular company are holding. So if you do the math, you will actually get this particular number. So there is this 0.0%, 0.07% held by insiders. Um, this held by institutions, don't pay too much attention to it. I'll explain why. But if you look at this held by insiders, if you remove this number, from the shares outstanding, you get the float. Again, your float is basically shares outstanding minus insider shares, shares held by the insiders, then you get the float. So you need to know your float when you're buying stocks daily, because it's it's one of those things that just helps with the movement of the stock. If the float of a stock is lower than this, the stock will most likely move fast, like up and down fast in the market. But if the float is heavy like this is an established company. If the float is this heavy, um, when it will take a lot of institutional buying and a lot of changes for the stock to actually move. Don't worry, I'm going to show you other stocks. We're going to use other stocks as an example, but always look at the float of a stock if you're looking to buy now and hold for the next 1 month, 6 months, 2 months, and all of that. It's not generally important if you're someone who is holding for years. If you're holding for like 5 years, 10 years, you don't really need to pay attention to the float. But if you're someone who trades stocks like weekly, which I do, you need to actually pay attention to the float. So I decided to open with that because it's going to come up a lot, during this class. Can you guys still hear me?
Yes, clearly.
Okay.
Yes,
So
we
to
hear
okay,
Yes,
great.
yes, yes,
So today we are going to be looking at how to catch trending stocks. The for free is that it doesn't need to be there. A lot of this information are public. When I charge you people for money, I only charge you to pay for my time. But um, the information I'm sharing here, you can find them out there anytime, any day. So what we're going to be covering is basically how to spot stocks that are gaining attention, both in the Nigerian market and the US market. And you can use these three platforms to find them. You can also use investing.com. I did not add investing.com here um, because they don't really have that, they don't show you proper data on stocks that are trending per se, but you can use it to find stocks that are trending, and I'll show you how to do that. So first platform is TradingView, second one is FinViz, and the third one is Market Chameleon. These platforms, you can use them for free. They have like a free tier, and you can pay them, I guess. A lot of people who are in our community, they use TradingView to trade, so they pay for it. I use TradingView as well, but I don't use it heavily because I don't trade crypto like every day. I just buy stocks and hold because I know a lot when it comes to fundamental information concerning stocks. So the first platform is TradingView. This is how you use TradingView to catch stocks that are trending. You want to go to tradingview.com. When you're on the website, I'm assuming you've already signed up and everything. You want to go to markets. When you go to markets, you go to stocks. And then when you're in stocks, you see top gainers, top losers. Then you see pre-market gainers and after hours gainers. This pre-market and after hours is something that happens with US stocks, where before the stock market opens officially for retail traders and everyone else, you actually get a buzz about buy orders and sell orders already. In a sense, you get to see movement, volumes, and everything in the morning US time. So on a regular day, Nigerian time, let's bring it back home. Even if the stock market opens by 3:30 in the afternoon, I mean the US market opens by 3:30 in the afternoon, around 11 a.m., 12 p.m. Nigerian time, you would already know how the stock market, the US market, is doing for that day, because you get to actually see pre-market data, um, gainers and losers before the market officially opens for everyone. You get to actually see buy orders. This is not illegal or anything. It's public information. Nothing here, like everything I'm teaching you when it comes to stock investing, is public. There is no illegal stuff. I'm just teaching you strategies that will help you make more money in the market. So when you come here, um, you pretty much see stocks that are making moves pre-market. An example is this stock. This is VISN. This stock has done 759% today. Um, percentage change wise, you can see the volume as well. You can see the pre-market change as well. You can see the pre-market volume initially as well. So all of this stuff is public. This one has sorry, 1 second. I'm seeing the pre-market gap. Oh yeah, this is the change. You can see this as well. This is High Roller Technologies. Now, if you want to dig deeper, you can actually click on any of these stocks and find out why they are trending. You can even ask ChatGPT, why is High Roller Technologies stock trending today? You can go on Google and just type high High Roller Technologies stock today, and then hit enter. And when you check, you should be able to see news. It says 3 hours ago, High Roller Technologies stock SOAS after crypto.com partnership. This was 3 hours ago. And then 1 hour ago, this is Tip Ranks. Tip Ranks is like investing.com. They also tell you, about stocks and investing and all of that and what's happening. But the thing with Google search is you can't really catch stocks that are trending on the homepage of Google. There's Google Finance. I think it's finance.google.com or google.com/finance. You can't really get all of these data on time with Google search. So that is why you need platforms like TradingView. You need places that are dedicated to showing you all time, gainers and movers and why they are gaining and everything. So when you get that buzz, and when I say when you get that buzz, I mean 9 a.m., 10 a.m., 11 a.m., when you get that buzz that, oh, this stock is trending. Like this stock, for example, if I paid attention to it, when the market opened, I would have caught it and I'll probably be up by maybe 200% by now, at least. Because when you get the news, there are platforms now that are actually letting you buy stocks pre-market. Basically, you set a limit order before the market opens. That order can execute before the market opens officially. Bamboo lets you do that in Nigeria right now. I don't know about Trove, but if you use Trove, check with their customer support. Ask them if you can trade stocks pre-market and after hours. Again, this information, everything you see here are happening pre-market. So it stopped making noise, or it stopped growing, or it stopped going up and down immediately the market officially opened to the public. But initially, 2 hours before, 3 hours before the market opened, you'd actually see these things moving, these numbers moving real time. You get to see the volume and everything, and then you decide if you want to buy or not. So I am going to still go in depth and explain whether it's a good idea to buy these stocks and not buy them, what to look out for and everything. But let's look at the other platforms that actually show you stocks that are doing well pre-market, and we can go from there. The second platform is Market Chameleon. I'm trying to zoom in so you guys can see my screen better. So here you can see gainers. You can see ROLR. This one is up 342% pre-market. There's GSIT. I take a step back to actually look at the ticker symbols to see if these are stocks that I know already. Because if they are stocks I know, it makes it very easy for me to, understand why they are trending and everything. Another thing you would also notice is with the volume of the stock. You start to notice that the volume is really, really high and all of that. So this is another platform that would show you if a stock is catching a lot of buzz before the market opens. This one, I am going to go to Yahoo Finance and I'm going to type ROLR. And here we can actually, oh, it's actually High Roller. We've checked out High Roller. Let's go back to Market Chameleon and pick up another one. This one did 15% pre-market. I'm not impressed. I've seen more. I've seen bigger numbers before. This is IVP. Let's check out IVP. IVP. So let's see why this stock is trending. Why it's doing well today before the market opened. So you come down here and you want to check the news. What's their name? Inspire SEO and deliver strong, blah blah blah. This is not them. If you don't see the news here, like I said, 98% of the time you would see the news here. But if you don't see the news here, you want to basically take the ticker symbol with the name and you just put it in Google search, and then you understand why it's trending today. You can also ask ChatGPT, but I don't want to open ChatGPT right now. So Partners raises authorized Class A shares to 700 million. Stocks jumped at 1% after hours. Here's what you need to know. It actually jumped yesterday. In fact, it wasn't just today that it started going up. It jumped yesterday. And that brings me to this place. So again, there is pre-market and then there is after hours. So after hours is basically stocks that jumped, maybe because of some news or something, after the stock market closed for the day. So there's no data here, obviously, because the market hasn't closed for the day. But let's check FinViz to see if they show the data for also no data. So you have to wait for the market to close to see the after hours information. But after hours also is a good way to catch stocks that are doing well, maybe because they reported their earnings immediately the market closed and boom, you hear about it. Also, I'd like to mention that these platforms, they have apps. Yahoo Finance has an app. TradingView also has an app as well. The last platform I would like to share with you guys, it is FinViz. You would have seen FinViz a lot or bits of it on so many screens in the previous years, but you probably didn't know that the platform is FinViz. Your average stock trader uses TradingView, but if they want to go further, they use platforms like FinViz. FinViz is that platform that even hedge fund managers use to catch news about the stock market daily. You have, the Russell, the Nasdaq as well. You see people who are trading with multiple monitors, and you see indicators like this on their screen. The platform is FinViz, and it's free to use. Although there are so many limited, like you can do a lot of things with it if you're using the free version. But if you have money to pay for the premium version, you can just pay for it and you get as much information as possible. You get information about insider selling and buying on FinViz as well. Like there are people who have this open on their screen 247 because they are trying to catch information about what's going on, in the market. You also see some economic data here, like the PPI and CPI. You see all of that here. If it's green, if it's bad, you will know. If the CEO of a company sells shares of the company, you will know. You also get information about, crude oil and coal here as well. There are also some forex information, also some insider trading as well. AKTS, there have been some insider buys. So if you check this stock right now, if it doesn't do well today, in the coming days, it might actually edge up. It depends again on why they are buying. Also depends on their earnings and all of that. But again, you get a lot of information about stocks. You see the ROLR, IVP as well. It's part of the top gainers here. And of course, you see the volume as well. This IVP, the volume is up 154 billion. That's a lot of in and out, a lot of people buying and selling and buying and selling. That's huge. That's solid. So it might just keep going up for the rest of the week. Today is Wednesday. It might also not, but again, you need to check to see why it's going up and then decide if you want to buy the stock or not. But the essence of this conversation is, imagine if you knew about this stock earlier today, by 9 a.m. or 10 a.m. when it was up like 100% or 50%, and you bought some. Then by now your money will be up 348%. But I wouldn't advise you to go ahead and buy like immediately. You need to take your time and find out why the stock is pumping. One of the things I did yesterday for you guys on the MLA group is I shared like two stocks and I was saying you should watch it. It might be a fake out. Sometimes the news might not be a substantial news to actually push the price of the stock up. A perfect example of this whole news thing is the Warner Bros. Netflix, conversation. When we first heard that, Netflix were going to acquire Warner Bros., the news was, it made everybody go, "Oh my God, this is really, really awesome," and everything. But there was no institutional buying at the time. There was no, I don't think there was even an upgrade or something at the time. And because of that, the news did not really move the stock much. So you need to do your research. You need to find out, you know, if that news is actually like a strong news before you get in on the stock. Netflix is going to buy Warner Bros. Okay. Has the deal happened? No. Have you thought about the issues, like what could come up? I mean, the DOJ could block the deal and decide to not allow it go through. Paramount might even eventually buy it. The matter has escalated to court now, and you know they're dragging it. So you need to find out if the news is actually powerful enough to move the stock beyond that pre-market news. So again, the three platforms you can use to catch stocks that are trending pre-market and also after hours is TradingView, MarketChameleon.com, and Finviz. There are so many other platforms there. One of the things I say a lot, even if I'm a profitable trader, is that I don't know everything. I cannot possibly know everything. There are people who even have more information, on a daily that I do with all of this stuff. But these are the solid ones I know. If you know another one, please send it to me. I will check it out, tell you what I think about it. And also, I'm always happy to learn from other people as well. Now, you have gotten the buzz about a particular stock, and you're like, okay, so this stock is trending, ROLR. It's trending. It's doing really, really well today. You want to get in on it. The two things I would advise checking before you get in on the stock, again, is the volume and the float. And that brings us back to Yahoo Finance. Um, did I get the name? Yes, it is. So you want to come back to Yahoo Finance and you want to check out the volume of the stock and the float. So um, this is the volume right now. It's 43 million. That's solid. That's really, really huge. But it's not enough to actually decide, oh, I want to buy this stock. What I would do is still check the float. So I will go to statistics. When you check the float, you know how much insiders of the company are holding, how much is out there for us to trade and all of that. So the shares outstanding is just 8 million. Implied shares outstanding is also 8 million. Held by insiders, held by institution, wait. Held by insiders, 73%. Held by institution. This institution one, I always calculate it among what we have, we that are retail traders as well, right? I mean, these guys already got, but they can still get more. So a float of 2 million actually means that there is a very, very, like, there's this insane squeeze going on at the moment with this stock. There are not a lot of public shares out there for people to actually buy. This 2.2 million float is solid. If I see a stock that has a float of 2.2 million, I will most likely get in on that stock immediately. Why? Because this float again is the amount of public shares, like outside for people like me and you, that we can actually buy. Again, it's shares outstanding minus shares held by insiders. This was not specifically mentioned, by the way. It's just a percentage I see here. But at the end of the day, the float of the stock is actually 2.24 million. That is small. The shares that are out there for people to trade, people like me and you to trade, is small. And what did you hear about the laws of demand and supply in economics? Can someone remind me? This is how I know you guys are listening.
Higher the price, the lower the quantity, the quantity demanded.
Okay.
Higher
I'm
the price.
I'm not
Well,
saying
the
you're wrong, but can somebody add to that?
the higher the demand, the higher the supply. The lower the
Yeah.
supply, the higher the demand.
Oh my god, you guys are second guessing yourself. Is there any economist here?
No,
The law.
The, the the lower the supply, the higher the price.
Okay. I am going to I am going to take that. Someone said Abby, that's what's making me laugh. He wasn't sure. Okay, but yes, thank you, Mr. Michael. Um Basically, when the supply is small and the demand is high, the stock is going to go up. It goes up insanely. Small supply, big demand. A lot of people are looking to get in on this stock right now. So many are dying to get in. Mr. Michael, can you mute? I'm echoing.
Yeah, that's what I want to do. Sorry.
No problem. But yeah, if a lot of people out there are dying to buy the stock, you're going to Mr. Michael, I muted you. I don't mean to be rude, but I had to. Um, so if a lot of people are dying to get in on the stock, like I mean, look at this. It's up 400% now. So if the float is a small number, it's good. Again, add this in your note. If the float of a stock is a small number, it's good. The float of a stock is the amount of shares offered to the public, people like me and you. A float that is 50 million and below is great. 100 million, yeah, it's okay. But if the float is entering billions, it's not so great. It means that um, the supply is big and the demand is like, I mean, even if the demand is high, most people will be able to get in, and it might not really push the price of the stock up. It might not just go up and down as much as you would hope. So always check the float of a stock. Now, everything I've shared with you guys so far is from a technical perspective. It's not from a fundamental perspective. If you now decide, can you guys still hear me?
Yes, yes,
Okay.
yes, yes.
Yes,
If you now
correct.
decide, okay, if you now decide, oh, I'm a fundamentalist, I'm somebody who buys a stock of a company and I hold it for the next 1 month, 2 months, 5 years, and all of that. If you're a fundamentalist, you want to look at other things. So for the sake of those that are fundamentalists in this class, I am going to go back to the summary of Yahoo Finance. And of course, I will look at not just the volume and the float, but also some um, some basic information about the stock. So the very first thing I want to show or check is the PE ratio. I want to see if the PE ratio is declared. If it's a stock that hasn't been properly valued in the market and all of that, you might not see the information, like the PE ratio and all of that. It basically shows you that it's a small company that is just coming up and everything. This is actually a gambling company. Interesting. It's an online gaming business worldwide, yada yada yada. You can check all of these later. So you want to check that, and you also want to go to analysis and see if there are some analysts that are verified that have properly analyzed the stock in the past, what they think about it and everything. So we also don't have that information here. You also want to go to their financial. Why do you want to go to their financials? Because you want to check their balance sheet and see if they are owing any money. debt is also something that affects how you invest or trade in a stock. So you want to go to balance sheet and you want to go to DEBT debt. And here you can see if they have like long-term debts and all of that. This is not substantial, so I wouldn't record this as debt. This is like $729 or 729,000. Because if it was million, yeah. So this is, I don't think they owe a lot of money, and that's a good thing. Um, Again, the stock is like a gambling company, so you also want to look at the sector and see if it's something you want to put your money in. There are people who have religious beliefs, they wouldn't invest in a gambling company or like a company that builds missiles and stuff like that. So you want to also make sure that the sector is something that you're comfortable investing in. So these are the other things that I would look at if I'm investing in the stock. Now, from a technical perspective, this is actually a good stock to get in on, in case you're wondering. But from a fundamental perspective, you also want to look at 1 year, the last 1 year, how it has performed. It's up by 220% in the last 1 year. How come I didn't find out about this stock before now? What the heck? I'm going to add it to my watch list. Um, the start of this year till now, the stock is up 682%. So if you had put like if you had put like $100 in this stock, you'd be balling by now. 6 months ago, it's 400%. 6 months ago, 1 month ago, 790%. 5 days ago, it's up 520%. A day ago, well, basically last 24 hours, it's up 429%. So this is just one stock out of many stocks out there that you can get in on. If you're somebody who trades stocks, if you're somebody who gets in on stocks, you buy now and then you sell after like 2 or 3 days or after 1 week. Imagine if you had bought the stock like 1 week ago, that's 5 days ago, your money will be up 520% up now. It's not rocket science. It's not juju or anything. Some people will say, "Oh, it's impossible. You can never get in on a stock and it to do 520%." Lying shake, and stuff like that. That happens. People will say that, and their conversation around it, their reason for it, is also valid. I will not disrespect anyone who says, "Oh, there is no investment that will give you 500% in 1 month." I wouldn't, on the safe side of things, on the fundamental side of things, there is really no investment that should give you that, right? But I am telling you now that if you trade US stocks, mostly US stocks, but it's not just US stocks, but mostly US stocks. If you trade US stocks, you can actually easily make this money. And I'm a living testimony, you can easily make this money in a week in the stock market. But for you to do this, you need to actually check your pocket. You need to check where you are in life. If you're a parent, I wouldn't advise doing this, getting in on stocks like this, because you can do it if I'm not a parent. I've never been a parent, so I don't know what what it's like being a parent and having to budget money for things. If you're going to be doing something like this, I'd advise budgeting money for it, so that if it goes south, you say, "Oh, I've exhausted my budget," and that's it. But for someone who doesn't really have a lot of risks, I would actually do this anytime, any freaking day, and I'll make money. And I've done it so many times. So that is why we're having this class. But again, if you're somebody who likes to be on the safe side of life, you like to buy a stock and hold it for 1 month or 2 months, maybe because your job would not allow you to check these things, then by all means, you can also be a fundamentalist and just trade stocks that will give you decent returns. So the goal of this class is not to discourage anyone or make you become rich overnight, but just help you spot these movements in the market. I'm going to stop here for now. Before we go on, do you guys have questions for me?
Yes, sorry, I do. Because this stock now you just talk about now.
Yeah.
Yeah. I check it on Bamboo. It's not on Bamboo. But I don't I want to really know, is it that most of these stocks they are not on the Bamboo app?
So I will not answer you without giving you data. I don't just pull information out of my ass.
Yeah.
So has an FAQ page where they basically explain why you cannot find stocks on the platform. I have made 2 videos about this in the past. Consider this the third one, but Bamboo will tell you that they don't list OTC securities, over the counter stocks. Bamboo will also tell you that the stock has to have a market cap um that is 1 billion or above. But even if it has less than 1 billion market cap, they are saying that the 3-month average daily dollar volume must be greater than 0.5 million, non-leverage ETF. So they have their reasons. But then if it fulfills all of these criteria, you can fill this form and then submit it to Bamboo so that Bamboo will list the stock. So for things like this, you don't need Bamboo. You shouldn't use Bamboo. I'd advise using, I think Trove does OTC stocks. There are probably other platforms out there that do. Somebody mentioned one the other day. God, I told one of you guys that I was going to check it out, but I think was it you, Isaiah? You mentioned a stock in our last, I mean, a platform in our last class, for trading. I
No,
don't
no,
think it
no,
was
no.
you, but someone
No,
did,
that
and I
wasn't me.
told him I was going to check it out, but I did not write it down in my notepad, and then I forgot. So there are platforms out there that you can use to trade these things. It doesn't even have to be a stock brokerage platform per se. It can also be platforms like Bybit. I don't know how much they have a trade file section where you can find some stocks, but I don't know how much of these stocks they have on the platform. I think that in the US market, there are like over 2,000 US stocks, and then there are so many penny ones, but you don't have to use Bamboo for these things. So sometimes if I check for the stock on Bamboo and I don't find it, I hold my money tight. I don't bother because my goal for 2026 is to not lose money. I am okay not losing money. If I make more, hallelujah, but I don't stress myself too much with looking for platforms because I want to get in on this particular stock because it's doing well. That's another thing about me. I don't get attached to these things. So it helps me sleep at night because you might get in on this stock now or another stock that you found through trading view and co, and then it will dip badly and you lose all your money, and then you open ring light and come online and tell everybody that stock trading is a scam, but it's not. So you see the volume, see how much it's going up and down because there are people buying and selling and buying and selling because of the float. The squeeze is like really really small and people are just getting in and out, so there is like an insane gap with how much it's moving. So I don't stress myself when I don't find some of these stocks on platforms like Bamboo. I leave it. There are some stocks that I've gone out of the way to actually check, and I found on Bamboo, and I ended up trading it. One of them is Ondas. I made a lot of money from this stock, and I think it's still doing well. But I sold everything. I shouldn't have. Do I regret it? No, I don't. Um, I bought this stock when it was like $2, $2 or so, and in the last 6 months, it's up like 467%. It just kept going up. Even some hedge fund managers and asset managers are raising it that it's going to keep going up, and all of that because they make drones and some other stuff in the US and a bunch of other countries. So I found this one on Bamboo and I traded it on the platform. I think it's still going to go up, I think, but there are going to be some corrections. So it will pull back. I mean, you can see here there's some, let me show you on trading view real quick. So you see some rejections and some key levels. I'm digressing. While I'm doing that, does anyone have another question for me?
Yes.
Okay, please ask.
Okay. The thing is, right? You said in a particular stock, right?
Yeah.
Under float,
Hmm.
the lower the number, the better. Like
Yes.
from 50 million downward, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
Then under statistics and share statistics, what should one watch out for?
Let me see. Let me see. Float is also under statistics, but let's see. Let's see. Let's see. Um, Let's go to statistics for wonders.
Okay.
This is where you're talking about, right?
Exactly.
Okay. So what I would look out for here, I'm answering your question. I'm also like speaking for myself as well. What I would look out for here is the average 10-day volume. Again, the volume is basically people that are buying and selling. So this is what I'll look out for. I also look out for the average 3-month volume as well. It's 92 million. So you see the last 10 days, the volume actually went up, I think. And then 3 months ago, it's like 92. So there's like substantial volume. The volume might just be sellers, not just buyers alone. Of course, volume is buy and sell. So you want to look at the volume. You want to look at the shares outstanding. So again, how you get your float in the first place is basically shares outstanding minus what the people who own this company and the people who own the stock on the inside, how much of it they have. If you minus how much of it they have from these shares outstanding, you'll get our own. When I say our own, the shares that the public can trade and everything. So you get your float. So I want to look at what is held by insiders. I don't like it when they declare it in percentage because it's stressful. It's stressful just going to calculate it. So I want to look at how much is held by insiders, and then shares outstanding, and then also the float as well. Um, what else do I want to look at? This stock doesn't give dividend, so you can't really find any information about dividend here. Um, Maybe the total debt as well. This is a big deal. I would also look at this as well. But I wouldn't check here. I will go all the way back to financials, go to the balance sheet and see if the debt tallies with this one. I'm answering your question, but
Yeah, I'm
yeah, I'm
listening.
just
100%.
okay. I'm just being Magnus right now. Like this is what Magnus will look out for. Um, I also want to look at their revenue, but I'm not actually a big fan of like revenues generally because I mean there's revenue, but they have to pay salaries, they have to pay for offices and a bunch of other things. Um, Gross profit, yeah, it's gross profit, not net profit. So return on assets, it's minus. Obviously, Ondas is a small company, so like just looking at the market cap and everything, you can easily tell that this is a small company. But in recent times, they've been doing really, really well. Also, the float used to be lesser than this. I guess I'm not very sure. But the shares seem to have been going up lately, or maybe it was more than this. Again, I'm not very sure. When I got in on the stock, it was really, really cheap. It was cheap. And I also looked at some of this information. Dividend, I don't kill myself when a stock does not give me dividend because it's not a long-term investment. The stock I'm holding long-term is Google and Co. If you've attended my previous classes, you would know some of these stocks. So these are the things I'll look out for in statistics.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you so much.
No problem. So also maybe you want to compare to like the S&P 500 52-week high and 52-week low. I don't know if this is a comparison per se, but another way you can compare this stock to the S&P 500 is by going to summary, and then you come to, let's come all the way down to here. So you want to compare it to the S&P 500 here. Year to date, it's 34% up, higher than the S&P 500. 1 year ago, it's 559% up, higher than the S&P 500. So it has overperformed the S&P 500. However, this is actually not a company that has been doing well in the previous years. You know, if you look at their quarterly earnings, revenue is up, but their earnings are down. So it's like the take home money and everything is not, it's not really much in a sense. And I'm pretty sure they are still looking for contracts because when a stock like this is getting a lot of traction, you start to see things like this. So this is the community. These are basically analysts talking about it. You hear things like, oh, they're going to get another contract. They recently landed a new contract and everything. These are the things that informs you about that stock, and then you can decide if you want to buy it or not. Um, you can also check the news here to see if Ondas Holding announcing closing of 1 billion offering. So as an all-time high. So you see some news about it here. What is the best platform that still gives me news on, these things? One platform I would use anytime, any day to check the news on a stock is Google. These are like other places, but Google still does it
No,
for me.
it wasn't clear. I didn't hear what you said.
Wait, can you guys hear me?
Loud and
Okay,
clear.
it wasn't
Okay,
clear.
I hear
okay,
you.
okay.
You can.
So I was saying that if you want to do your research on a particular stock, like if you want to get news on the stock, on the company, the best place to still get news about that company is still Google, because
Okay.
Google has a lot of information from different sources. ChatGPT tries these days, but Google is still like my go-to guy. Like, this is Quiver Quant. It's a website that basically lets you track your portfolio and give you information on the stock. So Google pulls data from there as well. Like, you can just get a lot of information about any stock before you invest in it through Google. Another thing I used to do a lot recently is I check the float of Nigerian companies with Google as well. So I would say something like MTN, Nigeria stock. What is the outstanding? I really want to know again today. Outstanding shares of the stock and the float. You can't really get some proper detailed information. When I checked yesterday, I think it was like 20 billion. But anyway, you can't really get proper detailed information about Nigerian stocks from a lot of platforms out there. But if you Google it, you would actually get some information, and also they will tell you where the source is and everything. So from there, you can actually get a sense of MTN's float. MTN's float is 4.5 billion. I like the fact that it's actually 4.5 billion against 21 billion outstanding shares, because that actually goes to show that there's been a lot of insider buying. There are a lot of people on the inside that are actually holding the shares, because I mean, look at this, 21 billion outstanding, but for people like me and you, which is the float, we only have 4.51 billion shares to trade. So you want to also, again, use Google to find out about these things. We're still, in the same class. We're still on the same page. I'm still showing you how to catch trending stocks if you're looking to invest in stocks. Then the third place or fourth place I mentioned was investing.com. Again, you can get information about these stocks as well on investing.com. I have this feels like Ojoro, but I have I have a pro version of investing.com. I have a pro access, so I'm able to analyze stocks better. Uh, but you can pretty much get information about the volume and stuff of Nigerian stocks and also US stocks with investing.com. Investing.com Nigeria is ng.investing.com. So you can get some information as well with investing.com. If you don't have the pro version, you're not paying for the pro version, or you didn't win the pro version, or you don't work with investing.com, this get information on the stock with with Google, you don't have to pay for it. I didn't pay for it at first for like a very long time until much later. Lucky me. So that's it. We're going to go back to the slide, and I am going to cover everything else I need to cover, and then we can take questions, and that's it. So I've talked about the pre-market, I've talked about the percentage change, I've talked about the volume. Again, I cannot trade a stock that does not have volume. It's the same thing I reiterated this morning when I was buying a stock on Cowrywise. Um, there was a Nigerian stock that has a lot of buyers, a lot of buying interest, but there are no sellers. That's like I can't do anything. This volume has to really make sense. And how do you check the volume of a stock? You can easily just check the summary page of that stock and you see the volume. If the volume is low, if the volume for me, if the volume is below 1 million, I will not buy that stock. Without volume, you cannot think of just going to the market to buy tomatoes and pepper. If you can't buy a tomato in the market, you can't buy tomatoes in the market if there's nobody willing to sell it to you. So I need that exchange, buying and selling, buying and selling. I need that trading volume. I need that average volume. I need it like I need jollof rice to be able to invest in a company. Luckily for popular US stocks like Apple, Microsoft, and Co., the volume is usually really huge. So it's easy for me to get in on the stock and get out. So I can buy now and sell tomorrow or next tomorrow and all of that. But with Nigerian stocks, the volume is sometimes usually not much. And if I see that the volume is not much, I will not buy that stock, because you might even succeed in buying and then to sell will not be wahala. I have so many people on some Facebook communities who say things like, please, oh, I bought this particular shares, but I cannot sell. I've been trying to sell for days now. It's a thing. It's mostly because of the volume. Sometimes it's something else, but 90% of the time it's the volume of the stock. There's nobody buying or selling, and because of that happens. For FinViz, you can also check with heat map of a stock and the stocks and everything to understand how the market is doing generally for today. This also helps me as well. You must have seen this image sometime on Twitter or somewhere else, but the heat map basically gives you an idea of what the technology sector, for example, is looking like today. So when you pull up the map, you actually see this. So when they say the market is red, market is bleeding, the market is bleeding today. I think the catalyst for this one is Nvidia, because again, there's this sentimental sell-off with Nvidia where you hear conversations around how Nvidia cannot sell chips to China. There's the new news about it now, and because of that, there are some sell-offs. These people that are selling off might just start to buy again by Friday, because there is even more major sell-off in the markets by Fridays. The stock market, sometimes the crypto market as well, there are usually a lot of sellers on Fridays. Then on Mondays, you start to see a lot of volume again in the market. It's not a secret, but if you don't know it already, you should know by now. There are usually a lot of people selling off their stocks on Fridays, and then on Mondays, you start to get decent volume again. So this sell-off now might continue from today to tomorrow to next tomorrow. It's a thing, it can happen. Because I think it can continue, I wouldn't buy a stock yet. I would wait till maybe Friday. If you notice on the WhatsApp group, I did not say anything about a stock to get into, a US stock to get into today. I just mentioned Netflix and what's going on with it, and that's it. Because sometimes the signs are there. Now, let's go back to the slide. Also, stock screener. The stock screeners are basically these platforms like, TradingView and Co. They have screeners in them that basically tells you if your stock is doing well, or stock is active and stuff like that. Investing.com also has, a screener as well. You can come here where it says stock screener up here, and you can basically screen a stock, check the sector, see which ones are doing fine. For example, if you click on Momentum Masters, in investing.com, you'll be able to actually see the Nigerian stocks that that have like really decent volume in the last 3 months. 69%. The stocks that are overvalued, these are basically what screeners do. They basically help you organize stocks based on which ones are doing well, which ones are not doing well, and everything. So these guys are asking me to upgrade to Pro Plus. But yeah, you see these things. I don't need to upgrade to Pro Plus because I can easily do this research on myself, on my own, without paying for anything. Also, the news of a stock sometimes move the stock, but it's not all the time. If you come back home to Nigeria, just because you heard that Airtel is buying back shares does not mean the It does not mean the news is going to move that stock. Funny thing, there is this, I don't know how this happens or why this happens, but I was talking to Mr. Victor Asemota sometime on his Twitter space in December about this. Um, about Nigerian stocks and everything. And the news thing came up again. He was talking about how he has heard news about how Nigerian stocks are doing well and everything. One of the things I noticed recently is that by the time you hear a news about a Nigerian stock, it has already done well like the day before. So it's like, who is getting this insider information? Who is investing in this stock before the news leaks? I don't know how or why that happens, but you can tell a lot about a stock. The news of a stock can move the stock if it's a US stock, but when it comes to Nigeria, the stock is already moving when you're getting the news. Like it's like the day before, it has already done like 10% or something. Again, I don't know how or why this happens, but it's a thing. So it goes to show that there is a lot of insider information going on with the NGX. Like there are people leaking secrets and company data and stuff. Like if Ethel is going to is going to buy back shares, which they did. It was mentioned this morning on the disclosure page. If Ethel is going to buy back some of their shares, they probably already mentioned it last week, and some people already got in on the stock. I hate that stuff. I really, really hate it, but it is what it is. Sometimes before you hear a news about a Nigerian stock, I mean, by the time you hear a news about a Nigerian stock, the stock has already pumped. Does that mean you should not buy? You can still get in, but you might just take might just take a bit for for you to get decent returns and stuff. Relative volume is basically two times the volume. 2.0 volume is basically if the volume is trading two times the average or the usual volume that it usually trades. Um, we've talked about this. Volume is basically number of shares traded. Um, if you want to again get in on stocks that you know doing well, you want to check the volume. Volume confirms the price moves, also shows trader interest, who is buying, who is selling, how many people are buying and selling, and all of that. Volume example: if a stock A is doing 10% and the volume is low, that's not it doesn't really move the market much. But if it's high volume and it's like 6% up, that's good, because sometimes the volume can just be buying and selling, buying and selling, buying and selling, buying and selling. So it's like up, down, up, down, up, down in the same region. That is in investing. That is what we call it's margin something. I can't remember the word, but you're basically just going up and down in the same region, and then it causes an accumulation. But before it causes what we call an accumulation, there's something, it's ranging, a ranging market. That's the word. The market is ranging up and down. But if the stock goes up, like it goes high, by 6% or even more, that's a good thing. We've talked about float. Low float means the stock is going to move fast because there is a squeeze and many people are trying to get in and get out, and the price of the stock is already going up and stuff. What is your float? Again, float is basically the shares that are publicly available for people like me and you after the insiders or the owners have bought, or they carry their own and go. So again, we've talked about low float and high float. 500 million, the float is too high. 10 million, float is still pretty decent. If you combine everything, again, check the movement of the price, check the volume of the stock, check the float. If it's low or medium, that is good. Also, check on multiple platforms to see how the stock is doing, what's even making it move. Check the news, Google it and all of that. And I know we've basically hit our time, but I just want to mention some final bits. Just because the stock is trending or it's pumping or it's doing well does not mean that you will not lose money. It can pump and then you hear another news and it's dump, or people who actually bought it can exit the market the next day or 2 days. So if you're a technical trader, somebody who gets in and gets out, you know how to reach out and everything, always do this thing that everybody does, where they buy on Friday and sell the next Friday. You buy a stock on Friday, by next Monday, it's most likely doing well because Monday, the volume is usually up most of the time. Tuesday, volume is usually decent for most stocks. Then from Wednesday, depending on the news though, the stock market might try to start to correct and all of that. Again, these are for technical traders, technical technical investors and all of that, not for people who are fundamentalists. If you just like to buy your stock and hold it for the next 1 year, 6 months, and up and up and up, all of this does not concern you. If you trust the company, you're sure of the company, just buy some shares and hold it. Also, always manage risk. I talk about this a lot. My goal for the year is to try to not lose money. By the end of 2025, my portfolio was up, like really, really up. I think over 35%. Like cumulatively, it was up. I still have some stocks that were not good, and because of how much I know about the stock market, I really, really want to do like a 200, 300% portfolio. And because I want to do that, I don't rush to buy stocks these days. I would most likely recommend a stock. If you guys are on the VIP group, you know what I'm talking about. I'll recommend a stock now, but before I buy, it might take me another 2 or 3 days. I think it's a buy, but I don't rush to buy immediately. I like to take my time now because I'm holding so many stocks, so many. I even told myself I was not going to buy so many stocks this year, but today alone, I've bought 3 Nigerian stocks. I bought like 2 in the last week. So I have like 5 Nigerian stocks now, and I might even buy more or just, add to my shares. So always manage your risk. Don't try to invest in everything. Don't try to buy everything. Have an idea of what you're getting into. Sometimes it might be because your gut is telling you that this company is going to crash. It might be because you just think that this sector is not for you. You just know that some sectors are not for you. Like, for example, the healthcare sector, I haven't made a shitload of money in the health, with health stocks and stuff. I made some money with UNH, maybe like 8%, and then I sold everything later because I wanted to use the money for other things. So always find out if the sector is something you're interested in as well. Please, please, please check, find out, do your research first before you get in on a stock. The stock market is not a scam. The US stock market has been around for like 200 plus years. And a lot of people have made money there just holding stocks. Some people have made a shitload of money also just buying and selling. There is no formula. I will not come here to drag anybody and say, oh, the way these people do it, it's wrong. No. I don't do that. But just find out what works for you before you get in on all of this. Because the same way you can make a lot of money is also the same way you can lose a lot of money. I say this as somebody who has been there. In 2022, I suffered. I really, really suffered. Like at some point, I had to uninstall Bamboo because I bought a lot of US stocks that were not really doing well. And, it really, really told on me at the time. And it took another 2-3 years for me to be profitable. That is why when I start some classes, I say it took me 5 years to go from 4 million naira to like 7 million naira. It's stupid. Just if you think of that, you're like, wait, what? It took 5 years. It took 5 whole years. A lot of investing and selling and buying, and like it was crazy. So please know what you're getting into first before you get into it. A lot of this information are publicly available. I'm not special. The next person who trades stocks is not special. They just have a lot of information and a lot of time. And again, interest. Nothing is ever going to be interesting to you if you're not interested. If you're not interested in investing or trading or anything, you will not go far. Interest is every freaking thing. So I'll stop here for today. Do you guys have any more questions for me?
Okay, I'm more of
Hi Dora,
Okay,
go on.
more of looking into Nigerian stock. Someone said something about RSI. How does that actually affect the stock?
I know what RSI is. Oh my god. I don't know why the person is telling you about. Do you buy stocks and sell the next week or the next month? What's your Okay, I don't
I'm
know.
like a fundamental holder.
Yeah, so why are they telling you about RSI? My brain is cooked. I've been interviewing people from different countries all day, but the RSI is basically one of those things you actually look at if you have the moving average, the RSI and co. If you're somebody who actually likes to look at charts and everything, so the person that told you to look at the RSI, I think the person is doing too much. Uh,
Okay.
I'm not saying you're wrong. You need RSI sometimes if you're trading, if you're a technical trader, but you don't
Okay.
really need, yeah, you don't really need RSI and moving average and co. If you're
Mhm.
looking to buy and hold for years, just make sure that you know I mean, if you're historically looking at a company, you want to maybe look at how they've done in the last 1 year and the
Okay.
last 6 months and co. I'm not saying you should not do your historical, normal fundamental research, but you don't need RSI and co.
Okay. Thank you.
No problem.
Hello. Hello.
Yeah, Mr. Danjumari, go on.
Exactly. Yeah. I've got two questions. Quick one. The
Okay.
first one is there float on TradingView? Can one find float on TradingView
The float
platform?
of a stock, you should be
Yes.
able to. Let's go back. Let's
Is it
go
there?
back to. You should. Let's go back to the
Okay.
data page. Let's go to technicals.
Okay.
If it's not in technicals, it should be in financials. Float. It's not here. I have never used TradingView to look for that. Give me a second. Uh, let's go to financials. Let's see if we'll see it here. Statistics. You have statistics here, so it should be here. So when you go to statistics, you should be able to see Command F float. It's not here. What the heck? It should be in statistics. Um, Per share metrics, CTE bit details. Um, it should be in statistics. Usually, okay. Let's go to annual. Uh, mm, am I typing the wrong thing? Free float. What's free float? Oh, it should be here. Should be here. Should be it because I see total common shares outstanding, number of employees, number of shareholders, free float, also known as float shares outstanding, blah blah blah. Okay, yeah. So they have float as well.
So how to get there is you go to
You go to
statistics and then
statistics. Yes,
free
in this
float.
on this. Yeah, I've never even checked on TradingView, but on these platforms, you always want to go to statistics, and then you should be able to see the float of the stock. So this is the current one, 396 million. Let's check. Wait, hold on. Let's go to Yahoo Finance. Let's go back. I need to make sure that the float here is the same thing as that of
Okay.
Yahoo Finance, because you also need uniformity to a very huge extent when you're doing these things. So it's float is 365.25. What does it say here? This is 396. So I don't understand it. What about the outstanding shares? It should be 4 something, 404. It's also 404. Funny, the
Okay.
maybe TradingView doesn't. Okay, yeah, I get it now. Maybe TradingView doesn't update real time for float. Maybe again, maybe I'm not very sure. I don't want to sound too sure, but you
So
can see
tell
that
me
the
the
total
best
shares
place to get the
outstanding is
float.
the same. Is where it's
Okay.
moving. Yeah, it's moving real time. So maybe use Yahoo Finance instead.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then the second question, right? What does it mean when a stock is overvalued, and what's the advantage and disadvantage?
That's a good question too. There's a Nigerian stock that somebody had me check out today. So stock is deep something, deep cap. So overvalued, when a stock is overvalued, um, you basically are saying that you've looked at everything. They are discounted. You're using models like discounted cash flow. You're looking at valuations. You're comparing it to other peers in the same sector. You're looking at the dividend they give, basically market cap, everything. You're looking at all of that information and you're comparing it to the price of the stock and the market cap and the PE ratio and everything. And you're able to actually say, oh, okay, this stock is actually overvalued. It means that um, people are paying premium for it. It has no right, in a sense, to be 3 naira, 3.99 naira at the moment, given the current market cap, the shares outstanding, the PE ratio, the revenue, all of that. The revenue is 3.1 million naira. Are you serious? Okay. So you look at all of this. So the system is basically telling you, oh, well, the market valuation is basically telling you that we have looked at all of this information, oh, and we think that this particular stock is overvalued. So
Okay,
he
so
has no
when the
right.
stock is overvalued,
Yeah.
is it advisable to buy it or to hold on?
No, it's basically hold on. It's basically saying that you're paying too much. You're paying 3 naira, 3.99 naira for this thing. The fair value is actually 2.2 naira. So it's 2 naira. Basically, again, the bag of rice example I give in every class, where I'm saying that you are buying a bag of rice for 90,000 naira when you should actually be buying it for like 60,000 naira. So you're paying premium for it. You should not be paying this amount for this particular stock. Now, just because the system, or again, the valuation model and everything says that it's overvalued, does not mean the price will not go up, or it can still go up. What determines that, how the price goes up? Well, it's the buyers. If more people are getting in and there are shares to buy, if more people are getting in, you're going to see that the price is going up. Last 1 week, it's up 47%. So if you had bought last week you'd have had like 47% of your money by now. So just because some guy named Magnus is telling you that it's overvalued does not mean that you can't buy. I mean, you can decide, okay, I've heard though, but I'm still going to buy it anyway. So the lady we are talking about, I don't know if she's here. You don't have to indicate if you're here, but um she told me to check out the stock, and I think it's overvalued. And right now, the only reason I would invest in this company is if I know more than what is on paper at the moment. Maybe I know who the CEO is and I know what they have in the works and what they are planning and everything, then I can actually get in. That is you actually doing further fundamental research on the stock.
Okay, good. Thank you so much.
Mhm. No problem. Does anybody else have any questions for me?
Yes, please.
Okay, tell me.
Please, can you help me look into Unicell?
You okay? So this class is not to. It's not for basically checking different stocks for you guys. The last time I did this on a call like this, everybody started saying, "Can you check this for me? Can you check this for me?" And the whole thing took long. So I cannot do that for you at the moment. I'm sorry. It's just going to make the whole thing take time. Please don't hate me. Does anybody else have any questions for me?
Yeah,
Yes,
are you
please,
going to
I have
comment
a
on stocks
question.
first?
Sorry, Mary. Sorry, Mr. Danjuma. Hold on, Mary. Hi, go on.
Yes, please, I want to ask, uh, is there any take on AfriVest?
Afri Invest, the platform.
Yes.
Okay, so I've made a video about this before, but you guys still want to, you guys still want to know how what I think about these platforms and everything. So if you're not sure about a broker, the very first thing you need to do is go to the NGX official website. That's where you see licensed brokers. So go to the NGX website and type the name of that company. So Afri Invest is on the NGX website. I'll tell you for free because this page is taking forever to load. But here you can see Afri Invest. It says that they are active, and when you click on it, you see how long they've been around and everything. I haven't used Afri Invest before. I don't use Afri Invest. I know a lot of people who have millions, who trade Nigerian stocks and everything. They use Afri Invest, but I don't use it. I don't use it because I have Bamboo, I have Invest Niger, I have I Invest, I have Cowriver, only me. So I'm trying to like calm the heck down with these platforms, but um, yes, it's a legit platform. They've been around since 1994. This is their website and everything, and you can use it to trade Nigerian stocks. Does this mean that they cannot have issues? They can have issues. Something can happen to them and everything, but um, just if you want a straight answer, yes, it's a platform that you can use to buy stocks. They've been around for a very long time. If they've been around for that long, then I would actually use the platform. I like to use platforms that have been around for more than 10 years. So I think it's a legit platform if that's what you want to hear.
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, I'll take two more questions and then we'll close.
Recommended stocks, please.
What? Recommended what?
Stocks.
I get this one a lot. So I have a VIP group. Let me sell my market small. I take countless hours to basically go through these stocks, go through their balance sheet and everything before I recommend stocks to people. So because of that, I don't give stock recommendations for free. I don't come online on social media and tell people, oh, go and buy this one, go and buy. Yeah, I don't do that for free. But I have mentioned it on the group yesterday, so I'm going to say it again. MTN is a good stock to look into at the moment. They've been averaging their daily 10% currently. If you don't already know, the NGX Nigerian stock market does not allow stocks to go beyond 10% per day. That's how they curb, manipulation and a bunch of other things. So MTN has been going up 10% recently, and I think that they still have a huge upside because I've stayed in Ghana and I've seen what people are doing with MTN Momo in Ghana. There are a shitload of people who are using MTN, and if they take all of that adoption, MTN Momo and Co, if they bring it to Nigeria, I think that MTN is still going to go very far. They own a huge market share in both the telecom space in Nigeria and also the digital finance space as well. MTN has so many things going on for them. There's also the MTN Fiber. Now I'm starting to sound like I'm selling them to you, but I think that MTN is one of those stocks that you can actually consider investing in right now. I mean, you can still buy it and it will pull back a bit, but long term, MTN still has a lot of upside potential. A lot. They are not showing any signs of like leaving Nigeria, or stopping anytime soon or anything like that. They have so many things they are working on. So MTN is a good stock to invest in. And also another thing I would like to mention, this is something that happens with a lot of people. I recommend this stock and then they go and buy it with 10,000 naira, and they'll just leave it there like that. You don't have to just buy a stock and then, jubilate when it goes up by 5% and say, oh, I've made money and sell and all of that. When you think of investing, I need you to think long term. Find a good broker that has an app, and then, because it'll be easier for you to manage when you're, setting up your will, or if something happens to you, your children can actually go to that app and look at it and everything. Find a good broker that you can use to invest in, shares, and stocks and all of that, and just buy. You can buy MTN shares like 50,000 naira every month and just keep doing it. You don't have to buy all the stocks in Nigerian market. You can just buy one or two and just keep buying and see how it goes. Some of the successful investors I know out there in Nigeria these days. Also, if you are here and you've invited me to your house, your wedding or something, and we've talked about stocks, thank you for inviting me. But some of the guys I know that actually do well in the Nigerian stock market are people who have like 15 stocks, 10 stocks, and that's it, across different sectors, and they are buying millions and millions of it, and they're keeping an eye on the company. It's just easier to manage a stock and company when you don't own too many shares. Just because Magnus is recommending 50 shares a year doesn't mean you have to buy all those shares. Even I don't buy all the shares I recommend. I am obsessed with this thing. I love this thing. So I don't shut up about investing and stock trading, even at 1 a.m. at night. But I don't buy everything. You don't have to buy everything. So if I recommend a stock, just because I mentioned MTN doesn't mean you should just buy once and then that's it. You can buy and buy and buy MTN as long as you're hearing that they're doing well. You're reading the news about MTN. There's nairametrics.com. There's so many other platforms out there that you can use to read news about Nigerian stocks. You don't even need me. Like, again, I say it a lot. I'm not trying to downplay myself or anything, but I'm not special. You don't need me for these things, but yeah, if you need me, I'm here. As long as you're willing to pay to join the VIP group, I can do all the work for you. But again, take time and look at all these things and make money buying one stock over and over and over again.